The combination of humor and drama in the popular television series MASH won viewers' hearts and minds. However, things weren't always easy behind the scenes. Some leading performers abruptly quit the show, even though it appeared like they'd be there forever. What caused them to abandon such a popular series? We'll learn the true causes of their exits today and how these choices affected the program's direction and their careers. I'd like you to prepare to explore the little-known backstories of the performers who quit MASH and the reasons behind their decision. MASH, a comedy drama. The popular television program MASH is a comedy drama series from 1972 until 1983. It centers on the life of the 4077th Mobile Army Surgical Hospital employees during the Korean War. These physicians, nurses, and support personnel worked endless hours to offer medical treatment to injured troops. The program is a timeless classic because of its distinctive blend of comedy and thought-provoking moments that enthralled viewers. Alan Alda plays Captain Benjamin Hawkeye Pierce, the protagonist of MASH. Hawkeye has a keen sense of humor and is a skilled physician. Major Margaret Hot Lips Houlihan, Major Frank Burns, and Captain Trapper John McIntyre are essential figures. Lieutenant Colonel Henry Blake, Corporal Radar O'Reilly, and subsequently Colonel Sherman T. Potter are all also featured in the program. Introduction. The individuals and their day-to-day hardships in a combat zone are introduced in the first season. The physicians often use humor to deal with the atrocities of war, and the tone is a mix of serious times and comedy. Every episode has personal tragedies, medical crises, and humorous moments. The characters are given additional nuance in the second season. Hawkeye and Trapper are still playing tricks and defying authority. Tension arises from Major Houlihan and Major Burns' frequent attempts to maintain military discipline. The program strikes a mix between humor and the sobering realities of combat. MASH begins to address more significant topics during the third season. Topics covered in episodes include the morality of war, the effects of violence, and the human costs of fighting. The season concludes with a startling turn of events that highlights the unpredictable nature of war. Lieutenant Colonel Henry Blake is killed when his jet is shot down. There are fresh adjustments in the fourth season. Captain B.J. Honeycutt joins the team after Trapper departs. Blake is replaced as the commanding commander by Colonel Potter. Potter is an experienced and astute manager who wins the staff's respect immediately. The main emphasis of this season is how the protagonists cope with these changes while carrying on with their profession. Total of 11 seasons. Major Charles Emerson Winchester III becomes a new surgeon in the fifth season. He's talented, yet conceited, which changes the dynamics of the group. The program examines individuals' personal and professional lives while fusing comedy with weighty subjects. This equilibrium is maintained throughout the 6th through the 9th seasons. The characters get closer and encounter new obstacles. Their challenges and backstories are explored in episodes. A recurrent issue is the effect of the conflict on their mental health. The inconsistencies and ridiculousness of military life are also highlighted in the program. The characters become more introspective in the 9th and 10th seasons. They begin to consider what life would be like after the war. As a result of years spent in a combat zone, the tone of the performance becomes solemn. There are times of reflection and personal development, and relationships go deeper. The series concludes with the 11th and final season. The characters are getting ready to return home as the conflict draws closer. Goodbye, Farewell, and Amen, the last episode, is a 2.5-hour special. It depicts the 4077th's personnel bidding farewell as the Korean War concludes. The emotional exit of each character emphasizes the relationships they've developed. During its existence, MASH received accolades for its acting, writing, and capacity to use comedy to tackle weighty subjects. A timeless classic. The program is still regarded as a classic and has received several honors. It's renowned for its original fusion of drama and humor and its careful examination of the human cost of war. MASH accomplished something noteworthy. It was topical at the time, yet still stands the test of time. Given that the series premiered during the Vietnam War, a large portion of the American people found resonance in the ridiculousness of saving lives to send warriors back into combat. New generations of viewers have continued to enjoy MASH because of its everlasting appeal. Even though the program was popular then, a few actors quit for various reasons. McLean Stevenson, who portrayed Colonel Henry Blake, was one prominent departure. McLean Stevenson, Lieutenant Colonel Henry Blake. On November 14, 1927, Edgar McLean Stevenson Jr., better known by his stage name, McLean Stevenson, was born in Normal, Illinois. Although his family had a long history in medicine and politics, Stevenson chose his path. Adlai Stevenson II, his cousin, was a two-time presidential candidate, and his father was a cardiologist. Early in life, McLean was heavily influenced by academia and encouraged to pursue renowned occupations, but his goals differed. Stevenson completed his secondary school at Lake Forest Academy. In keeping with his family's legacy of public duty, he spent a short time in the U.S. Navy, but his passion was somewhere else. He attended Northwestern University after serving and earned a degree in theater arts. He joined the fraternity Phi Gamma Delta while in college, a relationship that would later be important to his early career. Held various jobs. Despite having a theatrical degree, Stevenson had a difficult journey to become an actor. He worked as a press secretary for his cousin Adlai's presidential campaign and sold insurance, among other things. Even though they had nothing to do with acting, these professions gave him a wide range of skills and a distinct viewpoint that he would later use in his performances. McLean Stevenson started his career in the show industry as a radio personality in Dallas. He immediately became a local favorite due to his sweet voice and captivating charm. However, his literary abilities were what first attracted national notice. After relocating to New York City in the early 1960s, he started writing for Johnny Carson's Tonight Show. This job gave him a big break and introduced him to influential people in the TV business. Gradual transition. Stevenson took his time getting into acting. His relative, who saw his potential as a performer, advised him to pursue acting more seriously. He became a member of the American Musical and Dramatic Academy in 1961. This decision was crucial since it gave him official training and a strong acting foundation. His portrayal grew significantly when he started doing television advertisements and made his stage debut in musicals. When McLean Stevenson was chosen to play Lieutenant Colonel Henry Blake on the television series MASH in 1972, it was the part that would define his career. Audiences responded well to Stevenson's depiction of Henry Blake, the laid-back and foolish commanding officer. The warmth and comedy of his character gave the show's stark facts a human touch. MASH swiftly became one of the most watched television programs. Because of his outstanding performance, Stevenson won the 1974 Golden Globe for Best Supporting Actor. He became well known because reviewers and fans adored his portrayal of Henry Blake. Character's tragic end. Stevenson left MASH after the third season in 1975, despite the popularity of the program and his praise for it. There were many reasons for his leaving. First and foremost, Stevenson thought his character was not given enough attention. He sought positions that would give him more opportunities to show off his skills, since he felt he had more to contribute. He was also annoyed by the growing attention paid to Alan Alda and Loretta Swit's roles. Instead of being a member of an ensemble cast, Stevenson wanted to find roles where he could be the main character. The departure of McLean Stevenson from MASH was dramatic and unforgettable. His character, Henry Blake, was released from the Army and scheduled to come home in the third season's last episode. The terrible news that Henry Blake had died when his jet was shot down marked the conclusion of the episode. One of the most moving scenes in television history. This sudden and tragic turn brought to light the harsh reality of war among the comedy aspects of the program. Life after MASH. The choice to eliminate Henry Blake's character was revolutionary, At the time, it was uncommon for television programs to discuss the deadly effects of war openly. Stevenson's departure impacted the series and its viewers. McLean Stevenson tried to make the most of his newfound notoriety after leaving MASH. In an attempt to duplicate the success he had enjoyed, he appeared in several TV series. In 1976, he debuted as Mac Ferguson on the McLean Stevenson Show. Despite having great hopes, the program failed to connect with viewers and was terminated after only one season. Stevenson persisted in aiming for prominent positions despite the setback. He appeared in Hello, Larry, a 1979 spin-off of the hit television program Different Strokes. Stevenson portrayed Larry Alder, a single parent, and presenter of a radio discussion program. Sadly, Hello, Larry was discontinued after 2 seasons since it didn't have the same level of popularity as MASH. His ventures. Stevenson starred in several television shows and motion pictures in the late 1970s and early 1980s. He appeared in the 1978 sci-fi comedy The Cat from Outer Space and made cameos on series including The Golden Girls and The Love Boat. Notwithstanding his efforts, none of these endeavors were as well received or well liked as MASH. Even if McLean Stevenson's projects did not have the same degree of success in his latter years, he was still a well-known figure on television. He started appearing regularly on Match Game as a panelist and kept appearing as a guest star on other shows. He was a hit on talk programs and game shows because of his charisma and quick wit. Personal life. There were ups and downs in Stevenson's personal life. He has 3 children and 3 marriages. Between 1957 and 1960, he was married to Polly Ann Gordon. 1969, he wed Louise Herbert, but the two parted ways in 1971. And in 1980, he married Ginny Fosdick for the 3rd and last time, and they stayed together until his death. McLean Stevenson died at the age of 68 from a heart attack on February 15, 1996. His passing was a massive blow to the entertainment sector. Stevenson is mainly recognized for his portrayal of Henry Blake, who made television history. After giving his choice to quit MASH some thought, Stevenson admitted that it may not have been his career's most excellent course of action. Blake, not Stevenson. After years of trying to find the same success he had on MASH, he later acknowledged, "I made the mistake of believing that people were enamored with McLean Stevenson, when the person they were enamored with was Henry Blake. So if you go and do the McLean Stevenson show, nobody cares about McLean Stevenson." Stevenson made a substantial contribution to television despite his difficulties with MASH. His depiction of Henry Blake gave the program warmth, comedy, and compassion, and his departure left viewers with one of the most unforgettable TV moments ever. Stevenson's career brought to light the intricacies and unpredictabilities of the entertainment business. Wayne Rogers, Trapper John McIntyre. On April 7, 1933, Wayne Rogers was born, William Wayne McMillan Rogers III, in Birmingham, Alabama. Being up in a humble household, Rogers' early years were characterized by his interest in various hobbies and his desire for knowledge. His destiny was shaped by his extracurricular and academic pursuits when he was a student at Ramsey High School. Rogers attended Princeton University, an Ivy League university, after high school and earned a degree in history there in 1954. Rogers participated in the Triangle Club, a theatrical group that presented musical comedies when he was a student at Princeton. Even if he didn't pursue acting right away, this event probably piqued his interest in it. From Navy to acting. Rogers enrolled in the United States Navy after graduating, working as a navigator on board the store ship USS Denebola. Rogers had a defining period in the Navy. He became more deeply interested in performing while serving in the military. His capacity to dedicate himself to demanding and orderly settings was also shown then, which would later benefit him in his acting career. Rogers decided to take acting seriously after serving his time. He received instructions from famed actor-instructor Sanford Meisner at the Neighborhood Playhouse School of Theater in New York City. This instruction well established his acting abilities. His career's early years were difficult, nonetheless. Rogers supported himself while trying out for parts by doing various odd jobs, such as lifeguarding, taxi driving, and waiting tables. Search for Tomorrow. Rogers had little parts in movies and television throughout his early career. In 1959, he made his on-screen debut in the television series Search for Tomorrow and the film Odds Against Tomorrow. Even with these early jobs, he didn't instantly have a successful career. Throughout the early 1960s, he kept doing tiny roles in movies and TV series. It was his big break when Wayne Rogers was chosen to play Captain Trapper John McIntyre in the television series MASH. Alan Alda's character, Captain Benjamin Hawkeye Pierce, was the show's main antagonist and closest friend to Rogers' character, a thoracic surgeon. It was a comedy and a drama, and MASH was an immediate smash. Both reviewers and viewers praised Rogers' performance as Trapper John. He had a reputation for being charming, witty, and morally upright. The program's popularity was mainly due to Rogers and Alda's chemistry. The sitcom became a popular television fixture because of the comedy and complexity that the two characters' interactions brought to it. His departure. Despite the show's popularity, Wayne Rogers quit MASH after the third season in 1975. Creative issues were the main reason for his departure. Rogers thought Alda's Hawkeye was overshadowing his role. He felt that Trapper John was moving away from being the main character and toward being a sidekick, which was not the path he intended to go with his position. Rogers also took issue with Trapper John's lack of character growth. The producers rejected his requests for more substantive plots and equal treatment with Alda's role. He finally decided to quit the program as a result of this argument. Fans of the program were saddened by his departure, which was noteworthy. Life after MASH. Wayne Rogers continued to work in cinema and television after leaving MASH. He portrayed Dr. Charlie Michaels in the television series House Calls, among others. He was nominated for a Golden Globe for this performance, showcasing his range as an actor. In addition, Rogers starred in City of Angels and appeared as a guest in several other TV shows and motion pictures. His depiction of civil rights leader Morris Dees in the television film Ghosts of Mississippi is one such instance. Rogers' reputation as a gifted actor was further cemented in this performance, demonstrating his ability to play more dramatic and serious roles. Businessman and investor. Wayne Rogers was a brilliant actor and a prosperous investor and businessman. He finally handled his investment portfolio after developing an interest in finance while on MASH. Rogers gained notoriety for his financial savvy and earned the moniker The Wizard for his proficiency. He often featured as a financial expert on Cashin' In, a Fox News Channel show, where he offered his opinions on stocks and investments. His intellect and versatility evidenced Rogers' success in the financial industry. Personal life. Like his job, Wayne Rogers' life was packed with diverse experiences. He had 2 marriages. In 1960, he married actress Mitzi McWhorter for the first time. William Rogers IV, the couple's son, and Laura Rogers, their daughter, were born. They had lived apart for several years until their official divorce in 1983. Rogers married Amy Hirsch in 1988 and remained together until his death. According to rumors, Rogers and actress Melinda Naud had a kid called Luigi Calibra. Wayne Rogers died on December 31, 2015, following pneumonia-related complications. He was 82. A tremendous career spanning 5 decades came to an end with his death. Rogers was a gifted actor and astute businessman who left a legacy of iconic performances. Larry Linville, Major Frank Burns. Born in Ojai, California on September 29, 1939, Larry Linville is an actor best remembered for playing Major Frank Burns in the classic television series MASH. Linville grew up in Sacramento, California, and went to El Camino High School. Although his early years suggested a bright future in acting, his love for the craft didn't fully blossom until later. After graduating high school, he first studied aeronautical engineering at the University of Colorado. But Linville's passion quickly turned to the acting arts, and he applied to London's renowned Royal Academy of Dramatic Art, RADA. As one of just 3 Americans to be awarded a scholarship at RADA, he was thrilled to be admitted. Honing his skill. Linville refined his acting abilities by immersing himself in a demanding curriculum, prioritizing classical training. This foundation would significantly influence his future career. Linville returned to the United States after finishing his education, where he started his career. Various theater performances and cameos on television programs characterized Larry Linville's early career. Under the direction of Robert Hufford Porterfield, the theater's founder, he played with the Barter Theater in Abington, Virginia. Linville improved his craft and gained valuable stage experience from this encounter. Linville established himself in the television industry in the late 1960s and early 1970s. During that period, he appeared in prominent series such as Room 222, The FBI, and Bonanza. Linville became known as a versatile actor who could play various characters because of these performances. When he was chosen to play Major Frank Burns in the television series MASH in 1972, it was his big break. Success on MASH. Major Frank Burns, played by Larry Linville, played a crucial role in MASH's triumph. Frank Burns, a clumsy, conceited, and somewhat paranoid physician, served as a counterpoint to Hawkeye Pierce, Trapper John McIntyre, and eventually B.J. Honeycutt. Frank Burns became a memorable character because of Linville's acting, which brought a unique blend of comedy and suspense to the program. Frank Burns was often the object of verbal abuse and practical jokes from his coworkers. Frank was a notable character in the program because Linville captured his fears and inadequacy. Notwithstanding the character's shortcomings, Linville gave Frank Burns nuance by highlighting his weaknesses and developing his identity. Departure from MASH. Despite his popularity on the program and MASH's success, Linville left after the 5th season in 1977. He had several reasons for leaving. Linville's opinion that his persona had grown too flat was a major contributing factor. Frank Burns was often depicted poorly and mainly was utilized for comedic relief. Linville wanted to investigate further parts and chances that would enable him to demonstrate his versatility as an actor. It was brave of Linville to leave a popular program like MASH, but he felt it was essential to his development. Instead of being stereotyped as a clumsy surgeon, he would want to take on more varied and complex jobs. Life after MASH. Linville continued to work in cinema and television after leaving MASH. Linville was a well-respected character actor, even though he never attained the same degree of notoriety as he did in the part of Major Burns. He appeared in programs such as Murder, She Wrote, Fantasy Island, and The Love Boat. Linville demonstrated flexibility and established himself as more than Frank Burns in these roles. In addition to his work on television, Linville appeared in films, including Earth Girls Are Easy and School Spirit. These movies allowed Linville to experiment with other genres and personalities, even if they didn't get the same praise as MASH. Personal life. Like his job, Larry Linville's personal life was complicated. He had 5 marriages. Kelly was the daughter of his first marriage to Kate Gear. Later, he wed Deborah Guyden, Susan Hagen, Melissa Gallant, and Vanna Tribby. Linville's sometimes turbulent personal life was mirrored in his marriages. The memory of Larry Linville is still deeply ingrained in television history, especially in his role as Major Frank Burns. His skill was shown by his ability to keep a sense of humor while bringing to life a deeply flawed and often unlikable figure. Linville's MASH performance has lasted. It's regarded as a significant factor in the success of the program. Later years. Linville's depiction of Frank Burns is still praised, even though he left MASH to escape being typecast. Frank Burns was noteworthy because of his comic timing and ability to balance comedy and sadness. His character also introduced a distinct aspect to the program. When Linville departed MASH, there was a visible gap. Frank Burns' departure was felt, even if Major Charles Emerson Winchester III, played by David Ogden Stiers, added a new intensity to the program. Burns' interactions with other characters were essential to the show's dynamic, and audiences liked to loathe him. Despite his health problems becoming worse, Linville continued to work in cinema and television in his final years. Until his passing, he stayed committed to his art despite the difficulties. Larry Linville died of pneumonia and cancer-related complications on April 10, 2000. He was 60 years old. His dedication. Larry Linville was dedicated to his job and kept taking on parts until he could not continue working, even though his health was deteriorating. Although his fight with cancer was challenging, he approached it with the same tenacity that had defined his acting career. On April 10, 2000, Larry Linville died of pneumonia-related complications after undergoing cancer surgery. He was 60 years old. His colleagues and admirers lamented the loss of a gifted and devoted actor, and his death was a significant blow to the entertainment business. Gary Burghoff, Corporal Walter Radar O'Reilly. Rodney and Ann Burghoff welcomed Gary Richard Burghoff into the world on May 24, 1943 in Bristol, Connecticut. His early interest in the arts was nurtured by their loving atmosphere. Gary became fascinated with animals and the natural world from an early age. He connected closely with nature while growing up in Forestville's charming surroundings. Introduction to performing arts. Anne, Gary's mother, was a dancer, choreographer, screenwriter, poet, and composer for the local theater. She exposed him to the performing arts, often bringing him to rehearsals, where he grew to appreciate musicians, singers, and stage actors. Gary was adamant about following his hobbies, even though he was born with a club foot and many malformed fingers on his left hand. Through perseverance and hard work, he overcame his physical limitations to study jazz drumming and tap dancing. Gary graduated from Delavan Darien High School in 1962 after the Burghoff family relocated to Delavan, Wisconsin, during his sophomore year. During this period, he gained popularity as a drummer with the Bud Wilbur Orchestra in Milwaukee nightclubs. He had unquestionable skill and an unyielding will to achieve. Burghoff relocated to New York City to follow his aspirations after graduating high school. He started working at HB Studio, where he received instruction from well-known instructors including Charles Nelson Riley, James Tuttle, and Sanford Meisner. He supported himself by performing in jazz bands with his band, the W23, and working at Saks Fifth Avenue. Early career and breakthrough. Burghoff's early career consisted of appearances in a variety of theatrical performances. Finian's Rainbow, Babes in Arms, Bells Are Ringing, The Sound of Music, Tea and Sympathy, and Look Homeward Angel are well-known plays he starred in. His role as Charlie Brown in the musical You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown was his big break on March 7, 1967. With more than 1,500 performances in New York and Los Angeles, the production was a huge hit and helped to establish Burghoff as a gifted performer. Burghoff's life changed in 1970 when his performance as Charlie Brown caught the attention of filmmaker Robert Altman. He was given a screen test for Altman's next movie, MASH. Burghoff's career was defined by his casting as Corporal Walter Eugene Radar O'Reilly. MASH success. Larry Gelbart and 20th Century Fox developed the series for television after the MASH movie's popularity, and it debuted on CBS in 1972. The only actor from the first movie to be requested to play Radar again was Burghoff. His depiction of the naive and perceptive business clerk swiftly became one of the most adored television characters. Fan favorite. Burghoff became a fan favorite as his depiction of Radar was hailed for its charm, relatability, and distinct innocence. Notwithstanding MASH's popularity and followers' admiration, Burghoff had personal and professional difficulties. His family life suffered as a result of the rigorous filming schedule. In 1971, he wed Janet Gale, and in 1975, their daughter Gina was born. Eventually, however, their marriage became strained due to the demands of celebrity and the long hours spent on set. Burghoff's marriage ended in divorce when he decided to quit MASH in 1979. Departure from MASH. An important turning point in television history was reached when Burghoff decided to quit MASH after its 7th season. He left because he was burned out and wanted to spend more time with his family. Seeking comfort and a new beginning, he left the show and took his 4-year-old daughter back to the house where he grew up. Gary Burghoff found it more and more challenging to be involved in his children's lives due to the demanding filming schedule of MASH. Burghoff also wanted to explore new possibilities since he believed he had gone his character, Radar O'Reilly, as far as he could. His desire to achieve contentment and balance away from the demands of a very successful television career drove him to quit the program. He didn't make the choice lightly, but he believed it was essential to his health. Touching send-off. The producers handled his departure carefully, and Radar was given a heartfelt farewell in his last episode. After his uncle passed away, he decided to return home and manage the family farm, which gave his character's journey a satisfactory ending in the plot. Goodbye, Radar, the 7th season's last episode, was initially supposed to be Radar's goodbye. CBS asked Burghoff to return for a 2-part farewell series to give fans a meaningful send-off for the cherished character. This emotional outburst demonstrated Burghoff's dedication to balancing his personal and professional lives. Post-MASH career. Burghoff kept on his career in entertainment after leaving MASH, although he never quite achieved the kind of notoriety he had with Radar. He starred in several TV series, such as Tales of the Unexpected, The Love Boat, and Fantasy Island. Additionally, he appeared on game shows including Hollywood Squares, Match Game, and Tattletales. Even while he kept appearing on TV, he couldn't get the part that he had the same profound impact on viewers as Radar O'Reilly. Burghoff played Radar again in the 1984 MASH spin-offs, After MASH, and Walter, although both programs did not have the same level of success as the original series. Burghoff increasingly focused on other interests, such as his passion for animals and the natural world. New endeavors and personal growth. When Burghoff presented Pets, Part of the Family on the public broadcasting service in 1999, he shared his love of animals with the audience. In addition to being an actor, Burghoff was a skilled jazz drummer who spent his life perfecting his craft. He also achieved popularity as a wildlife artist by incorporating his passion for the natural world into his works. He found fresh satisfaction in his creative pursuits, and his work was favorably appreciated. Burghoff was not just an artist, but also a composer and inventor. He continued to be involved in regional theater, and his inventiveness and imagination permeated every part of his life. He performed Neil Simon's Last of the Red Hot Lovers in 120 venues during his 1999 to 2000 tour. Autobiography and family life. To MASH and Back, My Life in Poems and Songs, Burghoff's autobiography offered a close-up view of his life and work. His varied personality and journey through the highs and lows of show business were represented in the book, which was written uniquely and included poetry, music, and prose. Burghoff had both successes and setbacks in his personal life. He married Elizabeth Bostrom in 1985 after his first marriage to Janet Gale terminated in 1979. The couple had 2 kids together, but Burghoff's strong religious convictions caused a gap in their marriage and caused problems. After their divorce in 2005, Elizabeth and their kids relocated to California. Burghoff stayed steadfast in his devotion to his family while concentrating on his spiritual development and personal progress. Legacy and final reflections. Burghoff's choice to quit MASH at the height of its success demonstrated his dedication to putting his personal goals ahead of his career accomplishments. Many supporters who respected his bravery and moral character found resonance in this decision. Gary Burghoff's performance as Radar O'Reilly is still noteworthy in television history. His legacy has had a long-lasting impact on the entertainment business, and fans and critics continue to honor his contributions to MASH. From his earliest years in Forestville to his tenure on MASH and beyond, Burghoff's journey exemplifies his devotion to his profession and his unshakable adherence to his principles, highlighting the significance of striking a balance between work and family. If you've watched the video till here, that means you've enjoyed the video. Subscribe. Don't forget to turn on the notifications bell icon